Okay, everyone, so this call is now being recorded. A good idea. Okay, so I've now muted the participants. This call is being recorded for training purposes, and I'm going to go through a training briefly with you in a second, which will give you an idea, especially for new people on tonight, a bit more information about the nature of the business, what we do, and hopefully why we do what we do. And I'm very conscious of the fact that this is very new to a lot of people. It was certainly new to me when I joined 12 months ago. And since then, we've learned loads. But I'm also very conscious of the fact that we still have loads more to learn. Now, just turn the volume up. Oops. Hold on. Can you all still see me? Oh, right. Okay. Nothing happened there. Seem to have lost the screen share here. Have I screen shared yet? Maybe I haven't done it yet. There we go. There we go. So we should now have the screen share. That would be good. Okay. So, so I'm still very conscious of the fact that we've been in a year, we've learned loads of stuff, but I am very conscious of the fact that we have loads more to learn, and it almost at times seems like a huge task to learn everything that we need to learn in order to do what we do. And the best way of doing that is just to keep doing it, keep pushing, keep learning as much as you can about the business, and in specifically things like health and nutrition, and the mission of the company. And I believe that we need to place equal emphasis on the first benefit of doTERRA, which is better lifestyle and lifestyle management. And the benefits of being in the business, really, the first thing that everybody must get really is better health. And I think sometimes we get kind of lost in a fog of information about building the business, about setting goals, building our income, doing whatever we want to do. But the first thing that we should really focus on, if you think about it, is our own health, and that's the first benefit. And then we should then think about primarily how we can add value and how we can be of service to the people that we introduce into doTERRA, because they join, certainly in many cases, to earn money, but it's also true that they join, I believe, because they have a very strong interest in essential oils. And part of the rest of it is really kind of educating people in the mission of the business and helping people realize that what we actually really are about is helping people become healthier. And I think that sometimes we lose the emphasis of that because we're so focused on building the business. But for me personally, it's very, very important to me, because I believe that the health aspect underpins everything that I do. And I absolutely 100% believe in what the company's trying to do in terms of being proactive. And we talk about this slide every day on Zooms when we're introducing people to the oils and the business model and everything else. But it really starts with the major emphasis, I believe, should be on health. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd go through this in a bit more detail and talk about each one of these. And I suppose this is where things are developing all the time, because I'm studying things all the time and I'm trying to learn more. And I've recently come back from a conference in Milton Keynes called Symphony of the Cells, with a guy called Boyd Truman, who's, I think, a double presidential diamond and founder of the business. And he has a training called Symphony of the Cells, which I recommend if you get a chance to ever get to one of his events, or maybe you can have a look on YouTube. But the first thing in the doTERRA philosophy, and I do prefer the word philosophy, is we talk to people about eating right. And but it's worth just pausing and understanding what that really means. About 2/3 of people admit that they often eat badly because they don't have the time to prepare nutritious food. And there we go. I'll put in a picture there of what have we got there? A burger, some fries, and an ice cream, just to make you feel hungry. And it's quite interesting that research also found that 1/3 of people don't have the time to plan ahead to ensure they eat healthy dinners throughout the week. And 6 in 10 said they find it difficult to find recipes which inspire them to eat more nutritious meals, which is kind of fascinating, really. I didn't know you had to be inspired to eat nutritiously, but maybe you do. 64% of the population of Great Britain do not get their 5 a day. Now, I talk to people when I'm doing a Zoom call in a Zoom class. I talk about all this stuff, and sometimes I get a bit carried away, actually, because once I get into it and I get going, I can easily spend 20 minutes on this one slide, and then I look at the clock on my other screen and realize I need to get a move on because there's another Zoom coming, and I'm only like 5% of the way through. But it is a really fascinating subject. But and I do encourage you to study health and nutrition, because it will definitely help you speak confidently on Zoom calls, and even if you're doing face-to-face classes. But it will also help you add value, and this is really my point, because what we need to try to do in order to grow business and to develop business is to add value. And the way that you do that really is by giving people information that they wouldn't otherwise have found by themselves. So when we talk about health and nutrition, or eating right, here's a thing that I learned, which I already knew, but I had it reinforced at Symphony of the Cells, which is that the absorption of nutrition declines with age. Now, some people may know that, some people may not know it, but basically, one of the things that Boyd Truman talks about a lot is that when you get past the age of 30, which I did last week, you actually absorb less and less nutrition, and we need more enzymes. This is one of the things that Boyd talks about, is that once we get past the age of 30, the body needs more enzymes, and enzymes allow nutrients to be utilized. So that's where we get proper absorption of nutrition and absorbed into the gastrointestinal tract to support the immune system. But it doesn't work nearly as well after we reach the age of 30, and the body actually starts depleting. There are aspects of our body that actually start declining from the age of 30, one of which is enzymes, and everybody needs to get more enzymes. So as we get older, hydrochloric acid and digestive enzyme production naturally declines, making it difficult for you to break down and absorb nutrients from your food. Now, this is really, really important, because although we kind of joke about whether people eat healthily or not, it doesn't matter whether you eat healthily or not. Once you get past 30, we don't get the correct levels of absorption, even if we are inspired to cook green beans or whatever you need to cook. So we know that isn't the case. We know that many, many people don't eat well, but even if they do eat well, they don't get the correct levels of absorption. And lots of people don't know this, and I don't think I knew that 12 months ago, but I've probably kind of gleaned it over the 12-month period since I've been in. And the reason why that's important is if you just say on a very basic level to someone on that first slide on the philosophy, the lifestyle philosophy, if you say to someone, do you get your 5 a day? And they say, oh yes, I always get my 5 a day religiously. I get 5 a day every single day, no matter what. It doesn't matter. They still won't be getting the absorption of nutrients if they're over the age of 30. And that's why, because as we get older, we don't have enough enzymes in the body to allow the absorption of nutrients, even if we do eat well. So that's why I would suggest, if you weren't aware of that, make a note of that. Because all metabolic processes need enzymes. And in addition to the above, if people, even if they're eating quite well, let's say they go down to Sainsbury's and they buy, fresh fruit, veg, whatever, if it's not organic, these days the food contains less and less nutrients, because things like farming practices and depletion of soil reduces the nutrients. So if land is farmed over and over again with the same products, which it is, there's less and less nutrition in the fruit and veg we do eat. And I don't know whether everybody was aware of that, but that is the fact. If you do the research, you'll find that it's commonly accepted now that the food that we eat is less nutritious than it was 20, 30 years ago. So if someone sat there in front of you saying, oh, it's okay, I eat well, they probably don't, actually. Another thing is that water has a depletion of minerals because of modern production methods. So even the water we drink is not as effective for us as it once was. Which means that even if you're doing everything right in terms of diet, it's almost impossible to get all of the nutrients you need purely from food. Therefore, most people need to supplement their diet. And when you're talking to people about becoming proactive and preventative in healthcare, you need to be able to make the case for supplementing their diet. And because most people will just simply not be aware of why it's necessary. But that's some of the reasons why it's necessary to use supplements. Because A, as we get older, we don't have enough enzymes to allow the the absorption of nutrition. And farming processes, etc., mean that the food that we actually do eat, even if we are eating all the right stuff, is less nutritious than it used to be. But in reality, many people don't eat organically, and they get less and less nutrition. Now, next one, this is the lifestyle philosophy, the pyramid, by the way, that I'm bringing up one at a time. So this next one is exercise. Now, when I talk to people about exercise, quite often I kind of joke about it, and I ask them, do they, get up and do marathons before breakfast? If they're fit and healthy, if they look fit and healthy. But if they don't look fit and healthy, I don't say that. So be careful with that one. But it's a fact that 1 in 4 adults in England gets less than 30 minutes of exercise a week. And apparently women are more likely to be inactive than men, which actually surprised me. Now, in 2015, 58% of women and 68% of men in England were overweight or obese. Obesity has risen from 15% of adults in 1993 to 27% in 2015. That's a pretty dramatic increase. And the prevalence of morbid obesity has more than tripled since 1993. But more than 20 million people in the UK are defined as physically inactive, according to a report by the British Heart Foundation. So most people will probably readily admit that they don't get the necessary levels of exercise that they really ought to get. Next one is managing stress and getting a good, deep, restful night's sleep. But having a strategy for managing stress. So this is really new to me. 12 months ago, if someone had said to me, I need to get a strategy to manage stress, I'd have thought they were mad, actually. And I'd never really even considered it. But it is actually, maybe it's about time we did consider it. So maybe this will help. 85% of UK adults are experiencing stress regularly. Over a third of British residents feel stressed for at least one full day a week. 39% of UK adults admit they feel too stressed in their day-to-day lives. The most common cause of stress is money, followed by work and health, and failure to get enough sleep. That's interesting, and that should come up again. So concerns about money, followed by work, health concerns, and failure to get enough sleep, and household chores. Really? Can't say that one's affected me very much, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, next one, 54% of people who are stressed worry about the impact it's having on their health. 32% of people use exercise to overcome stress, which is good. But if people exercise, guess what? They need more nutrients, because if you exercise, you lose the nutrients. So you need to get more nutrients. So it's a no-win scenario. So what causes it? The data generated in this report revealed that the most common cause of stress was money, as I mentioned. And another popular reason given was work, followed by health concerns, then failure to get enough sleep. Now, if you think about it, when we're talking to people, we have all of the answers to those problems. When we offer people the essential oils and our products and also the opportunity, we can actually resolve all of those issues, which is amazing, actually. So that makes me feel good, actually, that there's all these 85% of people got these issues, because we can help loads of people, which is fantastic. And here's an interesting thing. What can we do about it? Well, firstly, we need to measure stress levels and getting insight into the key biomarkers. One of the key things is cortisol. So cortisol is a hormone that's released when we're stressed, and you can do some homework by Googling cortisol. But here's some of the things that we do to manage cortisol. Now, you probably all know about lavender by now, unless you've been living on the planet Mars for the last 12 months, or even if you're new, you should know about lavender. But another product that we use, which I think is really good, is Serenity soft gels. And that can be used for relaxation and sleep specifically, because that's one of the drivers of stress. But here's something I want you to have a look at. Here's a thing that I've heard about for a few weeks now, and I must admit, I haven't used it myself, but I would encourage everybody to use it. And this is a downloadable app you can get on your mobile. It's a free app, actually, and then there's a subscription app. But this is an app which is basically about relaxation, meditation, and managing stress. And this is a really big thing, because when we talk to people, especially people who are interested in essential oils, people who are interested in when I ask people about specific conditions that they're concerned about, one of the big ones that comes up all the time is anxiety, depression, and management of stress. And I would definitely recommend you get that app called Headspace. And there is another one, actually, I forgot the name of it, but I haven't used it yet, but I am going to use it purely so that I can add value when I'm talking to someone. So if someone is kind of struggling with relaxation or stress or anxiety, I'm going to recommend the exercises in the app, because I want to give them a solution. I don't just want to say, you know, what's your problem? I need to find out what the problem is, identify that, and then when I do the wellness consultation, I will actually give them a protocol for managing their stress. So I'm very, very serious about it. So I recommend that you get that app, and you can actually refer people to it, because I've had really good reports about it from people, although I haven't used it myself, because I've never really felt the need. Now, the next one is reducing the toxic load. And what have we got? We're talking here about, now on a class the other day, someone asked me about this, and I got all the products out. I must have put them away again. But I actually showed them on the class, which is not a bad thing to do. So if we're talking about adding value, I got all the cleaning products out. So the cleaning concentrate and the detergent, the On Guard detergent, and the On Guard, On Guard detergent, On Guard cleaning concentrate, and we use On Guard hand wash, the foaming hand wash, and we use On Guard toothpaste, and we also use the On Guard. We make our own mouthwash with On Guard. So reducing the toxic load, I often talk to people about things like fabric softeners. So if you haven't researched fabric softeners, just Google toxic fabric softeners, and you'll find there's been loads of news articles about it, and you'll find actually some of those things are as harmful to people as smoking. Actually, it's incredible. So if you haven't researched fabric softeners and cleaning products, some of them are literally as harmful to people as smoking. This is scientifically accepted. So I'm not exaggerating it. So there's the products that I got out the other day. I actually got them out and put them on the screen, on the desk. There we go. There's the On Guard, the hand wash, the concentrate, etc. And so most people know about lemon as a detoxing agent. And if you're not using lemon already as part of a daily wellness routine, I recommend you do that. But here's another one you might not know so much about, which is bergamot, which is also a cleansing agent. So if you don't fancy lemon, you can try bergamot, which is just as good. So reducing the toxic load really comes down to eliminating the toxic products in our house. Now, when you start something like doTERRA, 12 months ago, I don't think I would have been really aware of cleaning products being toxic. But we don't have any in our house now except the doTERRA ones. I promise you, we would not have any negative product, what I call a negative product, from another supplier in the house. We just use doTERRA products. So I do recommend you do that because some of them are very toxic. And I was at a talk in Northampton after about 3 months. I think I've been in the business about 3 months, and there was a guy doing a talk about the toxins in cleaning products, and it was a real eye-opener to me. So if you haven't any knowledge of that, I recommend you just research it. But there's plenty of stuff in the news about it. Or if you go onto Google, you'll get plenty of information. But I absolutely 100% believe in avoiding exposure to environmental toxins in cleaning products, shampoo. We use the doTERRA shampoo and conditioner that you see in the picture there. We don't use any other product. Now, Informed Self-Care, and you probably know what's coming now. This is a book I read, which I've recommended to loads of people. And if we're talking about adding value and helping people, I had a call, I think it was today or yesterday, and I was asking the person how many hours they slept a night, and she slept pretty well, actually, about 7 or 8 hours a night. But then when we probed a bit further and we got talking, she explained that her sleep was very broken. So she was in bed from like 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning, which is 8 hours. And she did sleep most of the time, but she would quite often wake up every hour. Now, if you read the book, you will know that that is not an effective sleep behavior. And if you read the book, you'll understand there's different types of sleep, and that the brain processes information and puts different bits of information in different compartments of the brain, depending on, but it's subject to getting deep, restful sleep. And if that isn't there, it won't work properly. And that will affect a number of things, including memory and all the usual things, with possibilities of things like dementia, Alzheimer's, etc. So although on the basic level she was sleeping 8 hours a night, the quality of the sleep was insufficient, and we have the solution to that. Next is The Healing Power of Essential Oils. And if you haven't read any books about essential oils, I recommend that one. It's a good one. It has about 150 natural remedies in it. And the more you learn, think of it this way, the more you learn, the more you earn, but also the more value you can give to the people that you do the Zoom calls with. And then the blue zones, which I talk about all the time now with people. And it is really interesting because the blue zones, for those of you who don't know, is a study of people who live to be 100 years old around the world, in different parts of the world, from California, Sardinia in the Mediterranean, Ikara in Greece, Okinawa in Japan, Costa Rica. So lots of different places, but they have common themes that run. And I recommend, if you're on Twitter, that you follow the Blue Zones on Twitter. And for those of you that have Facebook pages, you will get amazing content for your Facebook pages if you follow the Blue Zones on Twitter. In fact, we posted some stuff today from the Blue Zones on our Facebook page. Or we either posted it or showed it, I can't remember. But you will get really good content for your Facebook pages, but you will also get really good content for your Zoom calls if you read the Blue Zones. But if you don't like reading books, I know some people don't like reading books, which is a pity. But if you don't like reading them, just follow them on Twitter, because they have really good articles like this 9 lessons for living longer. I read a blog about that yesterday or the day before, and there's really good content for Zoom calls on there. So be well informed. That's the point. You must be well informed. If you're well informed, you are more likely to become proactive in your healthcare. And I say you because we can't really get other people to be proactive until we're proactive ourselves. So we have to live the message and become proactive. So I recommend, first of all, that you establish your own daily wellness routine and live the message. And that means being really serious about preventative healthcare. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we reduce the risk and that we're prepared and we don't just leave it to chance. See, what if you just leave it to chance? See, I'm 54, and if I just cross my fingers and leave it to chance, it could be fine. I might get all the way through to like 100 without any illness, and I might be really active. But it's not that likely, really, is it? If you think about it logically, it's not likely that that's going to be the case. What's more likely is that as time goes by, my health will gradually deteriorate unless I take measures now pretty urgently, and I'm proactive in terms of what I eat, what I put into my body. Do I get the correct levels of absorption of nutrition? Do I sleep properly? Etc. All the things we usually talk about. But if I don't do it, it's not likely I'm going to be able to really add value and help other people do it if I'm not doing it myself. So first of all, I recommend you do this, and then you'll be much more likely and in a much better position to genuinely help other people do the same thing. Because I absolutely 100% believe in the message. So here's a few suggestions for your daily wellness routine. And here's a product that we use in the Young household, and this is called PB Assist. And you may not, if you're new, you may not have come across this, but basically what it is a prebiotic, and I've covered this before, but it gives you 6 billion colony-forming units of microorganisms, which are known as healthy bacteria for the gut, which help the absorption of nutrition. And there we go. You may not know this, but your body has about 100 trillion bacteria floating around it at any point. So if you didn't know that, you do now. So you could say to someone on a Zoom call, if they were talking to you about absorption of nutrition, did you know we have about 100 trillion bacteria floating at any point? And they would think you were an expert on health and nutrition, if you were lucky. And there's a good range. A good range, though, is 5 to 10 billion. So it supports the health of the gastrointestinal tract, particularly the intestines and colon, and it helps optimal metabolism and absorption of food. Now, the reason why that's important is, as I mentioned earlier, most people don't eat healthily. Most people, even when they do eat healthily, don't get the correct levels of absorption because the food is less and less nutritious. So this helps the absorption of the nutrition and it utilizes the nutrients. Now, the next product, which is heavily promoted by Boyd Truman, is Terrazyme. So first of all, PB Assist, and then the next one is Terrazyme. And Terrazyme basically contains 10 active whole food enzymes. Now, I was just talking about that once we get past the age of 30, we need more enzymes because the body depletes, and it helps the body digest fats, complex carbohydrates, sugars, fiber, and proteins. It basically helps the body absorb proteins. So that's really, really important for cellular health and energy levels. So it basically assists the conversion of nutrients to energy, or as Boyd Truman puts it, it utilizes the nutrients. It helps utilize the nutrients for energy. So that's Terrazyme, which I take every day. That's why I'm so full of energy, even at 8 o'clock at night. Okay, now, next thing, alongside that, you could certainly select the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Maybe just type in the chat, actually, if you're already on LLV, Lifelong Vitality. But it's an amazing product, and I haven't got time to, but maybe just type in the chat if you've had any experience of Lifelong Vitality. We've had some incredible testimonials from people that use this product, and I do recommend it to everybody because I believe most people, 90% of people, this is the bottom line, and this is something you have to experience yourself and believe yourself and understand yourself, that 90% of people do not get the correct levels of absorption of nutrition in order to support the immune function. So once you accept that, if we're talking about preventative healthcare or being proactive, this is a really good product. But it isn't for everyone, and my wife tried it for a month, and she was kind of like wide awake at 2 a.m. and which I thought was really good. I thought we would really improve things, actually. But she said she couldn't get on with it, so she uses a different supplement. She uses DDR Prime and Mito2 Max for stamina, which is fine because the DDR Prime is the cellular element for cellular health. And so there's a range of different supplements, and sometimes people may have to try different ones, but I would say a really good starting point is Lifelong Vitality Pack. Now, this is what follows is information from the Chief Medical Officer in doTERRA, Dr. Hill, and this is his daily wellness routine. So if you want to make a few notes of this, you may find this useful. But as I mentioned, one size doesn't fit all, and everybody's going to be slightly different, but this will give you, I'm sure, some food for thought. So he says he starts his day with 2 to 3 drops of balance to the bottom of his feet when he gets up, and he puts some frankincense under the tongue, and he takes the PB Assist with his breakfast. They usually recommend PB Assist, by the way, about half an hour before you eat, but it has a special time release capsule. So it's not like those adverts on the TV which say all you have to do is eat a yogurt. That's rubbish, actually. If you see that nonsense on the telly that's saying that all you have to do is eat a yogurt, there's a time the bacteria in the gut will not last all day if you eat a yogurt. But the PB Assist has a time release capsule. Okay, so then he takes with his breakfast Lifelong Vitality and Terra. So there you go. So I've already talked about those 3, but that would put someone on a much better trajectory for getting the right levels of nutrition. So moving on into the afternoon, he says in your diffuser, you can put your favorite oil for mood management. So at the moment, I have wild orange going in the diffuser, which is very uplifting for mood, which is helping me, along with my Lifelong Vitality, get through this training. And he also says he uses citrus oil in water throughout the day. So you could put lemon, for example, a few drops of lemon through the day in your water. And I do recommend you drink more water. Actually, that's one thing that I've started to do since being in doTERRA, is I stopped drinking coffee at 1 p.m. This is one of the things I changed because I was a poor sleeper, and I drink a lot more water. There we go, look. I drink more water, and I do put lemon in the water. So for cleansing. Then in the evening, he takes Lifelong Vitality and Terra, and he diffuses On Guard, or he takes an On Guard capsule. And then when he goes to bed, he diffuses a relaxing oil, so maybe lavender or Serenity, and then he takes Serenity soft gels before going to sleep, 30 minutes before going to sleep, and then he applies Serenity or cedarwood to the bottom of his feet before going to bed to ensure a good quality night's sleep as well as the right duration. So when we're talking about sleep specifically, we're looking for the right duration, which is like 7 hours plus, by the way. If you read the book, if you're sleeping less than 7 hours a night, that's defined as sleep deprivation. So we're looking for 7 hours plus, but good quality, deep NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, so that the brain can do what it needs to do when you're asleep. And if you get all that in place, you're doing well. Oh, now I've jumped. So let me just go back one. I've gone a bit too quickly there. So that's a suggested daily wellness routine. And I am going to do a video soon on which will replace our existing 3rd video on the resource site for establishing a daily wellness routine. And it will have some other supplements that I've not covered in this training including specifically DDR Prime for cellular health and Mito 2 Max, which we use, which Karen uses. And I will also include in that the A to Z Wild Orange chewables, and I will also include there's one other the Deep Blue capsules for pain relief, which I'll put together in the next, what day is it today? Wednesday. I'll do it by the weekend, and that will complete the video section on step 3 on the resource site. So all of this information that I'm giving you is really for step 3 and getting people onto LRP, but really enabling you to add value into that. Now, so that's 40 minutes. I'm just going to show you a big event coming up. This is my registration for Düsseldorf. Have you booked Düsseldorf yet? I encourage you to make a date in Düsseldorf because it will be amazing. We're going to have loads of people there, and many of them will be going across as Diamond. So, but I have one more announcement to make tonight about an event which we think is going to come up very soon. Coming very soon. Are you ready? One more event which you may not know, in fact you definitely won't know about. Coming soon, at a venue to be confirmed. A Peter Rea and Neil Young event, and we are going to run regular events probably a couple of times a year when it suits us to do so, alongside the other events that Terra run. So we need to look at the calendar and do a bit of research into that to see when the best times would be. But we do now plan to do our own events. And that will include motivational speakers, training product content, how to rank advance, all the things that you would be interested in if you wanted to build your business, grow your income, and help as many people as possible into the bargain. So so that will be announced. We will probably announce the date of that event within the next week. We'll be looking for a venue, and we'll try. We need to look at see where everybody's located. So everybody's all around different parts of the country, and we will try and make it a central location, and we will then announce the date and the venue. But we think, to give you an idea, that the event will be probably around possibly in October, or if not by the early part of November, depending on where it is and what we need to do to get that in place. So I'm going to stop the recording there.